Good evening, everyone. My name is Judith Clark, the Executive Assistant at BARP, and I will be your moderator for this evening. I just want to thank you for your patience as we recognize that we are a little late in starting. We just wanted to give persons the opportunity to come in and settle as we begin. So we just want to thank you this evening for joining us. And this evening's session is entitled Caring Beyond the Cure, Supporting Families Through Life's Final Journey. And the presentation will be done by the founder and CEO of Caribbean Home Help, Mr. Paul Marshall. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping matters. This meeting is being recorded and will be shared on BARP's YouTube channel. If you prefer not to appear in the recording, please turn your cameras off at this time. All participants will be muted upon entry to ensure a smooth experience for everyone. And finally, the meeting will be open for questions during the question and answer segment. At that time, you may either type your questions in the chat or use the raise hand feature located next to the chat button on your Zoom app or browser. With that, we'll get started. And it's my pleasure this evening to invite BARP's president, Ms. Marilyn Rice-Bowen, to deliver the opening remarks.
Good evening. Welcome to all members on this session this evening. I want to especially welcome all the directors, the board of directors of BARP, management and staff of BARP, our presenter, our partner, Paul Marshall, and of course the guests and BARP members, because this is open to everybody, because we feel the information that will be shared this evening, everybody should have access to this information. BARP's theme is Healthy Aging, Aging Strong. And when you think about healthy aging, we always think about things going according to plan and no interruptions. But because we don't control our own destiny, sometimes, things can happen. Not what we want, but things do happen. And it is part of BARP's remit, not only to prepare you to face the good times, but to be able to deal with those difficult moments, because we can't just abandon you. So that is why this evening we have invited Paul Marshall to speak to the subject that will be discussed this evening. When one thinks of palliative care, you think of the comfort and the love. It is said that with palliative care is improved symptom control, better patient and family satisfaction. And for me at BARP, I want to focus more on family and patient satisfaction, because in those final months, years, whatever it is, we want to be able to reach our loved ones and to reassure them, but not fool them. But if we are not trained, if we are not exposed to what we should do and shouldn't do, then we could at times make some remarks that can be offsetting. So we want to focus on sharing precious moments with our loved ones, particularly when we know that they are on their way out, or I'm saying with our loved ones, but it could be us as well. I mean, it's not something that we would readily embrace. But should our fortunes change, we will want our loved ones around us and filling us in with little stories and, giving us encouragement. So I want to thank Paul for taking time from his extremely busy schedule to share with us this evening. And I want to encourage all of you who have signed on, and I guess some more will come later in the evening, to share the information this evening with loved ones, and most important, hold that information, because one never knows if we will need it for ourselves. And having said that, I want to turn over to Paul, and I want to just say one final thing is I know that there'll be lots of questions. I want to encourage you to make notes, and during the question and answer segment, then you could field those questions to Paul, because we are hoping that at the end of this exercise, you will be a lot more enlightened on palliative care than you were prior to joining this session this evening. So it's a learning experience for all of us, for me, for you. And I can't thank Paul enough and the organizers from BARP for putting this session together. So let's sit back. I have my pen somewhere here. I have my paper, so I too will make notes. Thank you all. Let's start this journey. Let's really, really start this journey.
Okay, before Paul comes to present, you might be asking yourself, who is Paul Marshall? Paul Marshall is the visionary founder and CEO of Caribbean Home Health, a pioneering home care and lifestyle company dedicated to redefining how care is delivered across Barbados and the wider Caribbean. With a background rooted in both business leadership, and personal caregiving experience, Paul built Caribbean Home Health from the ground up with a mission to ensure that families receive not just professional medical support, but also compassion, dignity, and peace of mind. Under his leadership, Caribbean Home Health has grown into one of the region's most trusted care providers, offering a full spectrum of services, including nursing, auxiliary care, housekeeping, palliative and dementia support, and now the development of innovative lifestyle centers designed to enrich the lives of seniors and the ill through therapy-based, hospitality-focused residence care. Paul's philosophy is simple but powerful. Care goes beyond medicine. He believes in treating every client and caregiver as family, fostering a culture of empathy, accountability, and excellence throughout his organization. His forward-thinking approach has positioned Caribbean Home Health as a model for sustainable, social, responsible healthcare entrepreneurship in the Caribbean. Beyond business, Paul is deeply committed to community upliftment. Through initiatives like the Random Acts of Kindness program, Caribbean Home Health has supported countless families with groceries, home repairs, and essential supplies, embodying the company's motto of care, compassion, and community. Now that you've learned a bit about Paul Marshall, let's dive into today's topic, caring beyond cure, supporting families through life's final journey. Paul, the virtual floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much. I would like to, first of all, say thanks to BARP for allowing us to share on this very important topic. You're doing an amazing job of making sure that people are informed and that you support those who are over 40. I used to be saying over 65, but now we're, over 40. And everyone is going to be affected by this topic in one way or the other. Palliative care touches every single, the effects of why you would need palliative care affects everyone, every household. And today we're going to talk about caring beyond the cure, essentially supporting families through life's final journey. So what is palliative care? For us, palliative care is a specialized approach aimed at improving the quality of life of patients and their families, addressing both their physical, emotional, and spiritual needs through the illness journey. We really see this as if you're going to be given a diagnosis that is life-shortening, you're going to be first dealt with the shock, and then all of the emotions come rushing in. You have to find a way of managing that, and that is what palliative care does. We focus on improving the quality of life for our patients. It's going beyond medicine, looking at the physical and the emotional. And the emotional part is very important. You could provide all the care that is out there, the medical care, and you don't take care of the emotional and the spiritual side, you're going to have some significant challenges dealing with a life-threatening or end-of-life situation. I'm going to ask a question, a straightforward question. How many of you have had to deal with death within the last 10 years? Anyone can just say yes or no. Right. I think we might have some. Yes, I see you, Marlon. It is a very traumatic period of your life. And I want to just go through what really makes a difference in palliative care, because sometimes we're a little confused about what is palliative care, because there's palliative care and hospice care. So routine palliative care is managing the illness while still fighting the illness. Home-based palliative care is the same thing, but it's in your home as opposed to an institution. And hospital palliative care is when you need to stabilize a crisis, and hospice is in that final stage, basically pain management and comfort base. So we're going to focus on a couple. So the main types of palliative care that we'll focus on three, which will be home-based palliative care. That is where Caribbean Home Health tends to provide this care. And this is what most patients actually prefer. I have two patients who just say straight out, I ain't going back to that hospital. I'm not calling any names, but they just say that they prefer to be at home. They want the comfort of their home. They want to go through that process with loved ones around them. So you're keeping the person comfortable in their home while reducing hospital trips, managing symptoms on the spot, and daily living, providing daily living support such as feeding, bathing, mobility. Essentially preventing any crisis from happening as best as you can, and supporting the family members. This is for people who still want to live at home and have control and independence. The other type of palliative care is hospital palliative care. As I indicated previously, this is going to be short-time stabilization when symptoms get out of control, or pain management when you have severe pain, breathing issues, complex medical management, or end-of-life decisions. This is where the doctor steps in, usually to bridge until the patient can go back home or to move to hospice care. The other care would be hospice care. People often mix this up with palliative care. This is where you provide comfort and dignity during the final stages of life. Typically, we're around 6 months. Providing comfort, not curative treatment, providing strong emotional, spiritual, and family support, and preparing the family for death. This could be 24/7 monitoring, where we have provided that for a number of our patients, where things have become more complicated and you require that professional care in the home. Or you can be in a hospital at this particular time. Hospice care is comfort without cure, and palliative care is comfort while receiving medical treatment. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask at this stage, or can I continue? All right. So how does this impact the family? Significant. In many cases, illness affects the entire family, leading to emotional exhaustion, decision stress, and caregiver burnout. Palliative care provides essential relief, offering structure and support during challenging times. Now, I did a survey between our clients, and for some persons, when they have to deal with a severe illness, one person usually is pulled out of the workforce to take care of that individual, putting a significant strain on the household sometimes. And I mean, it's not just the household, it's also the country. Because from the time persons come out of the workforce, there's a drop in productivity. So this is something that just doesn't only impact families, it impacts the country. So I understand our role in trying to, mitigate and manage non-communicable diseases and diseases that can also have complications for you down the road. It is important that you put in the effort now to be healthy, to keep moving, to eat in a way that is responsible so that you delay the impacts and have a very productive life. Now, the emotional support where palliative care is concerned, a lot of caregivers, family caregivers, even the caregivers that are professional caregivers feel grief and guilt during this period of time, thinking that they could do more. And having spaces designed for processing grief and guilt are essential. Take a walk, go to the beach, go to a nature walk like Graham Hall, Sanctuary, any of those places that you would be able to disconnect, or simply watch a comedy or take a time to try to find a way to break from that feeling of grief and guilt. Engaging in group discussions is also important. Family discussions, having discussions about how you want to approach the future is also important. This helps build resilience and unity within the family and reminds the family that they're not alone in that journey. And that is the important part that we also play. We try to ensure with our patients that we constantly are there, constantly giving them advice, and also constantly being supportive. We strongly believe that when you're going through a crisis like this, you should be grounded in something bigger than yourself. In some cases, palliative care encourages a connection, meaning, and purpose for some people, and families discover what matters most. I tell you that is true, because love, gratitude, and sharing memories are very important in that time, because you now realize how quickly life can disappear. And spiritual connections, it's not necessarily religious. Everybody has their own, many people have their own religions, but the spiritual side of it, if neglected, could be a very catastrophic part of an end-of-life experience. Strengthening emotional and spiritual grounding can transform the experience from fear to fulfillment. The ripple effect of palliative care. Proper palliative care can foster deep connections, encourage families to share their experiences and emotions openly. The dialogue reduces the stigma surrounding illness and dying, creating a supportive environment for all. Emotional healing for families can have a lasting impact. Now, I'm going to say this. Most of us do not always think about death. We think about things that are always within the 24-hour cycle. But I will explain, if you wake up one morning understanding or was to be told what day you had to die, how would you live now? You would live life with the most fullest purpose. And you would do the things that you were probably trying to put off for years. Or you would tell the persons that you love them, or try to, mend those broken fences and bridges. So your legacy is important. And during this time, you're given the opportunity, once you've been told that you have, a certain amount of time, to bridge those gaps. And within that, essentially repair and make legacies for the future. Because when people remember you kindly, they will always speak about you. That's how your legacy goes forward. Now, Barbados, what is the situation here in Barbados as it regards to palliative care? So Barbados faces significant challenges in providing structural, emotional, and family support services to basically tackle the challenge that we have, which is a significant amount of persons who are facing a number of health challenges, life-altering and life-ending situations. So with that limited structural support and family support, and limited palliative care facilities, many families are left struggling trying to figure out how to provide this palliative care. Many, as I said, someone has to leave the workplace or someone has to be dedicated to provide that care. Sometimes you have families who are not equipped to provide that care. So we at Caribbean Home Health, we try to bridge that gap by providing a holistic, community-centered care, which doesn't just deal with providing nurses. We would do your shopping, take you to your appointments, essentially discuss the strategy with your doctors and the care plan, and not only maintaining you, but maintaining your household and providing you with that, what I would consider compassionate and yes, compassionate care. We are very excited to also let you know we will be in our lifestyle center that will be launched very shortly, be providing a palliative care and hospice facility, of which you will be able to bring your loved ones to us and experience a kind of a experience that you don't really come to think about right now. So we are going to be nestled in the middle of the island where we will see sunrise and sunset. We'll be able to see most of our patients. We don't really call them patients, we call them guests. Will be able to have the ability to play with pets. Textures are very important during this time to still stay grounded. So there will be pet therapy, there will be nature trails where we can wheel you out in a wheelchair and let you see the sun and let you feel the sun on your skin. This will be really a facility deeply connected to creating an emotional and spiritual support and making sure that family feel comfortable, that they have a lounge, that they can have discussions with whoever they need to discuss their family's future with, as well as in the time of grief to give counseling. Our focus will be on dignity, peace, and togetherness. And I would suggest that you follow our pages because we are going to be giving you bits of information as the launch, the official launch comes nearer. So palliative care is not about giving up. It is not. It is about holding on to compassion, to family, and to the moments that matter most. Families thrive when support emotionally. Families thrive when supported emotionally and spiritually. And true care is rooted in empathy, presence, very important, and shared humanity. And it is important that we all understand that no matter what the diagnosis is, you still have hope while you have breath. I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to, hear a little bit about palliative care, and the floor, I guess, will be open. I will end here. I don't know who's going to moderate at this time. Any
Okay,
questions?
yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
Paul. Go ahead. You can ask.
no, I was going to ask, is there any questions? Yes, Erica. Eric, sorry, Eric. Hi, Eric, your mic is muted.
I'm sorry about that. Good evening. Do
Good
palliative
evening.
caregivers become emotionally attached to those who are in their care? And if
Yes,
so,
they do.
what is the impact?
Yes, they do. So we've had caregivers who, even if it's a short period of time, create a bond with their clients, their patients. And when there's a loss of life, they take it quite hard and sometimes require to take a break. I have seen some who have been so connected that they actually decided they were no longer doing caregiving because it hit them that hard. So the impact can be very significant. For family caregivers, there's that ever-present burnout. And when caregiving comes to end, they have mixed feelings, and sometimes they're extremely exhausted, and some people are devastated. It literally changes you. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, thank you. And I mean, if I can ask a few more questions, how
Sure.
affordable is palliative care? Because, for a lot of us, we have loved ones and we want the best, but sometimes the finances are an issue. So how affordable is it?
Well, it does depend. So you have a couple of options. The most frequent road that people take would be palliative care at home. And that could be provided by a family member. And that is the most reasonable option. If you're going to hire a agency, you're going to be in the range of anywhere between, I would say, if it's 12, 24 hours, you're looking at about minimum starting at about 160 Barbados, around that there per day. It can go up to $300 per day, depending on the type of situation that you're in. If it is very complicated, then it can go up even further than that. My suggestion, I try to tell people this from early. If you have health insurance, do not ever stop health insurance. If you are working for someone, get additional health insurance so that if you leave that company and the health insurance is terminated, you still have health insurance, because that could cut down significantly the cost of nursing and all other medical services that will be required during that period of time, so that you don't have to bear the full load on your own.
So,
I
as
hope
a-
that answered the question.
Somewhat, because I was going to ask as a follow-up about the insurance, but do all the providers cover palliative care, hospice, or this kind of care that we want for our loved ones who are going through major illness?
I have had a significant amount of my clients who do have health insurance that it does cover our costs. All right.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question for you?
Yes, because as an aging society, where we are going to have a high percentage of the population being seniors, and we are facing a epidemic more or less with NCDs and so forth. Care is for seniors is going to become a major issue for us. So I mean, how prepared we are, I don't know if we could ever be fully prepared. And it is going to be quite a huge challenge.
Barbados is in a very serious place. It's just that it comes in a way that is not seen. But the amount of people who, first of all, are, I would say, persons over 80, there's a very high percentage of those individuals who have dementia. Persons over 65 have some form of hypertensive, or either hypertensive or diabetic, or have other complications, or presenting themselves with cancers. So there is a significant wave of persons every year. This is growing significantly more and more. I will tell you, currently right now, we've been in 5 years in doing this, and every year we have 30% more patients every year. And that does not include the persons who chose to contact us and then decided to probably have a family member. So it is a serious thing.
I have one other question, Paul, and that is how organizations, and certainly a company such as yours, a business such as yours, ensure that the caregivers stay compassionate and don't exploit patients?
Very good question. As it relates to caregivers, they're people, and you're going to have good people and you're going to have bad people. So as an organization, what we try to do is to ensure, one, we vet our caregivers thoroughly. So we will ensure that, one, they don't have a police record. Then two, we need to understand how they performed within other households by having conversations with those persons they would have worked with in the past. But the important part is the compassion part. When we interview someone, we are looking for, one, the true reason they're actually, they choose to be caregivers. And there are a number of questions we ask that we know that have been proven to show up a certain type or quality of individual. once they've been brought in and approved, then they have to go through an introductory training, which basically goes through what we expect and the empathy that we want our caregivers to have. And I usually tell them very simple. I tell them at some particular point, you may very well be in that person's shoes. And you need to then determine how you would want to be treated if you're in that person's shoes. I also ask them a very simple question. When you were sick, I usually ask them if they've ever been sick at any time. And then I ask my caregivers a simple question. When you're sick, are you very happy? Are you cheerful? And none of them have that answer as a yes. So I let them know, well, in situations when you're taking care of someone who's ill, you have to understand that situation. And if they have, you know, a little bit of a acid day or a day that they're, you know, being a little rough on them, that they take the time, take a 5-second break, and try to be able to put themselves in their shoes and be as compassionate as possible.
Okay, we have President Marilyn with her hand up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, very informative session. But let me ask you something. You've made reference throughout the presentation about palliative care being offered by family or palliative care being offered by professionals. You also shared the costs. Now, of course, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, that if palliative care is being offered by family members, then that would drive down the cost, would it?
That is significant. Yes, that's what I said was the first one, which is palliative care provided by the family. Now, this is where the challenge comes in. We have noticed that some families take for granted an individual that person should provide that care without any compensation. And that creates problems eventually where you will either have sometimes where the care is not consistent or the person feels taken advantage of. But the most affordable, would be private, well, the family member providing that care.
Okay. And what happens then? So in the event that the family member starts, a family member or family members start, and they recognize that it is beyond them, because whereas with the professional, they're just they're operating in a professional space, whereas with the family member, this person that you are attending to is a loved one, so there's a lot of emotions there, and then it could be overwhelming. So in the event that a family member start out and then they recognize that they can't continue, then you would step in and the costs would escalate.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have situations, and this is a way of saving costs too. You do not have to have a company like us come in on a daily basis. For where the family members providing the care, they can call us to just take a break, because sometimes you just need 2 days to regroup and be in a position to be able to take back over the care. But to answer your question, yes, when things become overwhelming or beyond their abilities, because it can get very complicated, especially if you have to have IV in the house, what the family member may opt to do is to have the person hospitalized, or if you can afford it, you will call a company like Caribbean Home Help, and we can take care of all of that. We can even provide the IV management, pain management, and essentially guide you through that process.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Very much. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other questions? I'm quite open to as many questions as you have. I do also have one of my registered nurses here who consults, so they can answer any technical questions that you may have.
Miss Manning Withers, you can go ahead and
Hi, good evening,
ask your
everybody.
question.
I just had two quick questions. One following on from what Marlon was talking about, because if my family member has something like Alzheimer's and I'm not trained to manage that, do you come in and help me know what I should do while I'm giving the care? Does your organization offer that kind of soft training?
Not currently, but I'm glad you mentioned it. You've planted the seed in my mind, and it is something that we can look at.
Yeah, I think it would be good because we had a family member who had Alzheimer's and we did start out trying to look after her, and then it became overwhelming and beyond us, and we had to make other decisions because we just were not trained
Mhm.
in taking care of that person. And then the second question, Mr. Marsh, I don't know if this is for you specifically because you talked about making sure that your medical plan, I guess, covers stuff like that. Um, can somebody tell me if the BARP medical plan covers hospice or palliative care currently? Or maybe
Yeah,
it's
that one
going
we
to be
might
something in
ask.
the future? Does anybody know? Marlon?
We at BART, we don't get involved in that aspect of the operation. It's only when the question was raised with reference to insurance, I said, oh shoot, we should have gotten somebody from the insurance department to come in the event that there is an insurance related question. What I can promise you is if you put your question in the chat, tomorrow we'll forward it to the insurance department or brokers so that they can answer. So right now, we cannot speak to that, and I rather defer to answer than answer, and it's indeed not correct. Hello? Hello?
Hi, you can go ahead.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Sorry. I was saying thank you, Marlon, and it is in the chat. I had it in the chat.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I have my two questions in the chat already.
Okay. Charlene, we need to, yeah, we'll pass that on, and that will be answered tomorrow. for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome.
Now, something to think about within your planning, and this is very important, that when you have a situation where someone's ailing and is in palliative care, that you have a family discussion to determine who will provide the caregiving and who will provide the financial support. And that might be shared, or it might be one particular individual doing one task and the other doing the other. But it is important that that discussion be made and that the persons who agree stick to their role, because sometimes we find people agree to some things and then regate and then they become chaos. Because it can be very stressful when it comes to dealing with these types of situations. Families can be, let's just put it this way, to put it kindly, they can get into situations where people stop talking to each other because of the crisis they're going through. So I just said I will leave that as a note for you because it's a very important part of it, that agreement between family members as to what they will do in a situation like that. Anyone has any additional questions? All right, so I would just say thank you very much, and it was indeed our pleasure to share this with you. I know it's a very ticklish topic, of which people don't like to hear. But for those who have joined us, I hope that this was enlightening. And at any other time that you wish to reach out to us, you can always give us a call at the contact numbers you have there, which is 246-629-4251, or reach out to us on our website, which essentially we do have agents that speak to you on our website as well and guide you as well. I would like to acknowledge one of the RNs here, which is Miss RN Hall, who is still here to ask any questions. And again, I would like to say thank you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. I am seeing a question just posted in
Sure.
the chat.
Okay, let me
Um,
see if I can see that.
and the question was, Patricia Hart's asking, what about non-health related care?
Sure. So I'm assuming you are asking for things such as help within the household. Is that correct? Or just having companion care? Is that correct? I'm watching the chat, so you can respond. If it is that you're asking, we do provide that. There are certain clients who are just a little fearful that the person in the home is getting isolated and require companion care, and we do provide that.
Yeah.
We do provide additional support in the context of, if we're providing that, we can have also some health checks, such as the vitals and making sure that the individual is taking their medication. I'll kind of give you a idea as to how our care is constructed. So we have something called basic plus, advanced, and specialized care. So within basic, that would be what would fall under basic care, where we provide a non-certified individual who will come in and help around the house, mainly a lot of house tasks and providing some companionship. The difference between that and our housekeepers is that the housekeeper comes and they will do all of the housework. There's no necessity to have a connection with the housekeeper, but with our home helpers under basic care, there's a requirement for them to create a bond with the patient or client. Basic Plus is now going to be focused on more nursing care, geriatric nursing or basic nursing care, where we're checking your vitals. They're reporting to my patient safety team. Their job is to keep you safe at home and comfortable at the same time. Advanced now would be where you have some complications post surgery, and there's a requirement for more skilled individuals to monitor you and report to our patient safety team, who will then essentially come up with either care plans or intervene where they need to. And then specialized care is mainly done by our registered nurses, and that is really complicated medical situations that can be high risk and life-threatening, or complicated where you have a post-surgery that could get complicated and cause you to lose a limb or something and requires additional assistance. RN Hall, do you wish to give a little bit of context to that?
Not at the
That's
moment,
issue.
unless there's a specific question related to what you just said. No, please.
Okay, so I covered it.
Yes, you did.
Okay. I hope that answered your question. Oh, yes. Someone asked if we have brochures and flyers. Yes, we do. And we can drop off some at BARP if we're given permission to do so. But yes, we do have flyers and if I have permission, I can drop our website here in this chat.
Paul, I want to add here, it's Sherilyn. We have a brochure holder in our membership lobby. You can absolutely leave some of your brochures there for members to pick up, and feel free to share your website in the chat. Remember that this recording will be shared to our YouTube channel, and if you've missed anything, you can absolutely view it there, and it will be live from tomorrow.
Yes, and I look forward to seeing that on the YouTube channel, and I'll share it on our page.
Okay, great. So the Caribbean Home Help website link is there in the chat for those persons that are interested. You can click on it and open another page and have a browse. Also, you can find Caribbean Home Help on Instagram for those persons that may be familiar with Instagram. They have an Instagram page, and also the link to Barb's discount partner page is in the link as well. Paul, we want to thank you very much for presenting this evening, and this time I will invite Barb's Vice President, Mr. Eric Smith, to deliver closing remarks.
Thank you, Judith, and good evening, everyone. On behalf of BARP, I want to extend our sincere appreciation to Mr. Paul Marshall, CEO and founder of Caribbean Home Health, for today's powerful presentation, Caring Beyond the Cure. Paul, you reminded us that palliative care is not just medical support. It is compassion, dignity, and peace of mind for families. Your message and the thoughtful language you use highlighted the emotional and spiritual connection that define this work, and showed clearly that true care goes far beyond medicine. Your insights reflected the heart of your mission and the values we share here at BARP. Thank you for encouraging us to have the conversations that so many families need, but often delay. Conversations about how we support our loved ones through life's most difficult moments, especially when palliative or hospice care becomes necessary. To those who can join us live, there's an opportunity to watch this on the BARP YouTube channel and learn at your convenience. For those who are here this evening, thank you for your participation. Once again, thank you, Paul, and indeed, Registered Nurse Hall, for your expertise, your vision, and your ongoing partnership with BARP. Thank you, and may you enjoy the rest of this evening. Please continue to stay safe. Good night.